How's it, you guys? The more I look, the more I discover just how crazy, interesting, and deep the world we live in is. And I can't help but share it with you guys because seriously, it makes every day like ridiculously fascinating and powerful. There's dimensions of glorious splendor that like glimmer at us from just below the surface of the seemingly mundane. I've always been interested in mystical experiences, which basically means direct experiences of this ultimate reality. But I never thought I would find it in the Bible or in the dusty church of my childhood. Like, I didn't think the Bible had anything to do with magic or drugs or aliens or consciousness. But it was really through a mystical experience of my own that I realized the world of enchantment that has been there the whole time. And I got a treasure map that leads me through the world of my mind into a magnificent Eden that's right here waiting for us. But yeah, I'll probably share more about my mystical experience in another video, because that's really what led me to begin to see through the veil. And it's the reason I chose psychology for my bachelor's degree and why I decided to go to seminary to get my master's in theology. What I want to share with you guys now is just how mystical this archaic book of the Bible is. And so really how it's on the opposite end of the spectrum to boring, because the scriptural is mystical and the mystical is scriptural. And where they come together, you discover a world that the ancients knew well about, but which we've forgotten about in the modern world. And we need pretty desperately now to step back into that understanding, because it's an enchantment that brings clarity and direction and power. So let's stay on this journey together. Please like this video and subscribe so that this unfoldment happens in real time in our lives. So here we go, let's go. I got a nice mystical number for you, a splendid 7. 7 ways that the scriptural and the mystical come together. And who knows, your world tomorrow might glisten and shimmer at you in ways that you never believed were possible today. The heroes in the Bible were led into the mystery through veil-shattering paradigm shifts. So let's pierce some veils now and allow the mystical to call us. That's how the prophets rolled. Check it out, point number 1. Most of the prophets were called through mystical experiences. Like, take Moses. Moses was trained in the magic and power of ancient Egypt. But he had divided loyalty and killed a guy and had to run away and cruise through the desert for 40 years. Not that much happens in the desert with sheep for 40 years. But you do get used to the way nature works. And nature can often be this force that initiates an encounter with God. Think about like Moana and Sleeping Beauty and all that Disney stuff. So one day Moses was paying attention to nature enough. He was alert enough to realize that a fire wasn't burning up a bush. He was watching. Now, who knows how often these anomalies might happen and people just don't notice. But Moses did. Maybe it took him 40 years to silence his mind and his previous education and indoctrination enough to listen in the right way. And as he started paying closer attention, this burning bush started calling him by name and revealed this epic mission customized for him that joined his life later as a shepherd to his life earlier in Egypt. Some people think there was DMT in the acacia bush, and that's what triggered this, but I don't necessarily think so. If anything, I think the prophetic disposition gives us access to the DMT that's already inside us, the endogenous DMT, but in a clearer way, because the DMT realm is deceptive in a way that the true mystical realm is not. And because plenty of this kind of stuff happened without burning bushes around, like with Samuel. He was a kid going to sleep and heard his name being called. And so Samuel responded to this in his waking life and got out of bed. See, most of us would have just drifted off to sleep, but Samuel was watching. He was integrating those two domains of the dream realm and the waking realm. Turns out it was the voice of God who gave him his customized mission. So how often are things calling our name in our daily existence, but we're not watching? We're either moving too fast or we just don't think that the world operates like that. But it's crazy because there's 2.5 billion Christians, 2 billion Muslims, and 15 million Jews in the world who say they believe what happened to these biblical heroes is true. So way more than half the planet. And yet in practicality, do we really believe that the world works like this? Are we watching for similar communications to happen to us? If not, we might miss it. Try this. Next time you're in nature, listen to the sounds, the wind, the river, whatever, and see if it speaks to you. Yeah, maybe not in words, but with attunement, maybe it would. Also, next time you're going to sleep, listen to the layers of communication that seem like they're not quite coming from you. This has been crazy for me. These other levels of perception will kick in my alpha hypnagogic state. It trips me out. How they say things I never would have thought of myself. Maybe we're being called, but we're just not watching. We're too asleep to hear our name. Point number 2. Saints after the biblical time were able to tap into the mystical. So maybe we think like, oh yeah, that was for the Bible superheroes back in the day, but miracles stopped happening after the last book of the Bible was written. Well, that's not true. Jesus said that we can do the things that he did and greater. And people have done miracles. For anyone to be canonized a saint by the Catholic Church, they have to have performed a verified miracle. Francis of Assisi healed a whole bunch of people by doing the sign of the cross. He got the stigmata, these wounds in his hands and feet and side like Jesus had. And one time when no one was listening to his sermons, he said, all right, fine, I'll preach to the fish. And all these fish gathered in the water and stuck their little heads out to listen to him. And he also stopped this wolf from terrorizing the town by understanding it. He could speak the language of nature. And he levitated too, rising above the ground to like 1.5 meters in front of a whole bunch of his fellow friars. And he wasn't the only one. Saint Joseph of Cupertino was seen as lowly in the world's eyes, and he failed school and was seen as having a mental disability. But what's lowly in the world's eyes, as we'll explore deeply in other videos, is often seen as high in God's eyes. And Joseph would literally lift up off the ground in front of tons of other people, including in front of Pope Urban VIII once, as he went into his mystical trances. And it's not only Christians who've been able to do this stuff. Buddhists and Hindus have levitated too. And it's like the psychonaut Terence McKenna liked to quote, reality is not only stranger than we suppose, it's stranger than we can suppose. And that takes us to point 3. God's reality is mind-blowing and can be overwhelming, but it's more real than this realm. Some of us tend to think of God's reality as like little fluffy white clouds with baby angels playing the harp, but it's way more mind-blowing than that. When angels visited prophets in the Bible, they weren't like, oh, cute. Nah, they were full on scared. Daniel, Zechariah, Isaac, the shepherds, they all freaked out when they encountered a messenger from the realm of God, which is what the word angel means. The stuff is intense, and you can never be the same again. Even Jesus freaked his apostles out when they saw him walking on water, and they were super scared of that. Because the eternal has a weight, which is what the word glory means, that this world doesn't. It's able to walk about the shifting shapes of the waves because it's more timeless than them. Think about it. The only constantest change applies to our world and to everything, from the seasons to the people around us, to our understanding, and even to the mountains. Our body is regenerated fresh every 7 years, and we aren't even physically the same people. And we become so used to that when we see the glorious, the weighty, the time transcendent, it blows our minds. And our paradigms straight out the water. Experiencing God's reality will leave you forever changed. And it can give you superpowers that have practical use within this world. Let's go there next. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to let you guys know what all the 7 points are in this video, because I said I would. And then if you want to find out the explanation for the last 4 points, like you have for these first 3, please do download the free ebook with integrated video from the link in the description below. I want to do this because this channel is for you guys, and I've been researching on how to set these things up so that they become a mutual mission that we're on together, and this is one of the best ways. It also adds a layer of info for me to see the kinds of things you guys are into so I can direct it better, and it creates a little bond between us. So please do download the free mini ebook I created for you. And what are the remaining 4 points that link the scriptural and the mystical? Point number 4. Mystical experience can give us real-world psychic powers that have practical use. Point number 5. Magic is real, and at times, God will show that his magic is superior to occult magic. Number 6. Angels, demons, and possession are all real. And then number 7. There's life after death, and what we do now affects the things to come. So yeah, mind-blowing stuff that will give you access to hidden depths of our seemingly ordinary lives. Please support the cause by liking this video and subscribing to my channel so you can keep one foot in the secret dimension of Christian life. And comment on this video too. I really want to hear your guys' thoughts. We can learn from each other. I honestly really appreciate you being here. Till next time.